Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me here today. Today I'm here for Couture Creations. I'm product featuring the embossing powder and embossing pen that is available from Couture Creations, and I'm using it on the new Lavender Love collection of mulberry flowers, and I'm going to show you how you can decorate them and add texture to these beautiful stems. These are the stem packets from the collection. They come in lavender or lilac, white and sort of mauvey color blue. This is the embossing pen. It has a twin tip. One is a brush tip and one is a bullet tip, and that's got the embossing liquid in it. Some embossing powder here. I'm using these gorgeous blue sprinkles that will add color to the lavender color, and I'm also using alcohol ink. I'm using the Glitter Accents lilac one. You can color with the alcohol pen, but I found that it's not as fluid like the alcohol inks. So let's get started. You also need to use your heat set tool. This is one from Couture Creations. You can use embossing ink pad, but I found with these little flowers, this pen is ideal for adding the embossing powder onto the areas that you want to highlight. So with these mulberry lavender stems, the white ones are really lovely to colour in with the alcohol ink, and also the other ones with colour in it, the lilac and the blue ones, they are lovely to add alcohol ink to as well, but also adding texture with the embossing powder. Because lavender to me is a little bit like a purpley blue color. You can get really wonderful tones in real lavender color flowers. So with the embossing pen, I'm using the bullet side of the embossing pen. I'm just adding the embossing liquid over the parts that I want to emboss. So this technique is really good, and this pen is really fantastic to just highlighting areas where you want to emboss. Now this is a gorgeous blue sparkles. It is absolutely beautiful when it's mixed together with the glitter, and once I just dab a little bit of the powder over where the embossing pen that I sketched over that element from the die cut from the lavender collection, I'm going to shake off the excess, and I'm going to use my heat tool or heat gun to set that embossing powder. You can see the glitter in the embossing powder, really pretty. Did you know that there are over 52 different types of embossing powders? And I'll have the link of all the colors that are available, from really fine embossing powder to also real chunky mixed media style embossing powders. So you may have noticed that I'm holding the element that little with a handy clip. When you purchase the handy clips, you get 2 in the pack, and these are really good so that you don't actually burn your fingers, because this is really small piece of ephemera from the ephemera pack from Lavender Love collection. So I'm heat setting that embossing powder, and when that's set, I'll show you a very quick close up. You can see the sparkles and you can see the beautiful blue on that. You can also do the butterfly, but I thought you'd probably understand what I mean by doing this technique. See the little blue sparkling embossing powder that's just highlighted the texture of that beautiful element. So that's ready to create on with your projects. I just like adding a little bit of embossing powder to those kind of elements just to give a bit of glitter. Now to colour in these mulberry flowers or lavender stems, I'm using the embossing powder again to give texture, but I'm going to be using the alcohol ink from Couture Creations. This one here is the Lilac Glitter Accents, and when you spread it all over the white one, you can see the glitter coming through beautifully, and it absorbs really nicely. So just sprinkle a little bit of that alcohol ink over the stem, and you can see how it adds a little bit of color and texture. Because this one's already got color in it, I'm just adding a little bit here and there, not too much, just to add a bit of texture. And with the blue one, I'm just adding a little bit of the color of the alcohol ink on that one as well. So you can dry these now, or you can roll them in some embossing powder, but I'm just going to dry that and set that so it doesn't dissolve with my heat tool. And again, I'm going to, before I do that, I'm going to add some of the embossing clear pen over some of the areas here where I've left it white, over the stem of that flower. I'm just putting a little bit of embossing liquid over there, and then I'm going to sprinkle the embossing powder over it. So any areas that has got the embossing pen on that flower will be highlighted with this embossing powder. A really quick technique of colouring your flowers. I had also another flower that was just a white creamy flower, and I wanted to add a colour, so I'm going to show you exactly what I did there with that one too. So see how it all sticks to wherever you placed that embossing pen onto that flower. Also, just rolling it while it's wet with the alcohol ink is good technique too, and then I'm going to heat set with the heat tool as well. So this is a great way of using any flowers that you have in your stash, that you can highlight them with embossing powder and highlight them also and colour them in with alcohol inks. Mind you, it is paper. Just be careful that you don't put too much alcohol ink on your paper flowers, because it actually will melt your flowers, dissolve them, because they are, of course, paper flowers. So now I'm getting ready to heat set these with my heat tool. Again, I'm going to be using that handy clip to hold those in place while I do that, because this could get really hot in my hand. This is a really great tool to have to help you with holding some elements in your hands if you're doing some heat embossing techniques. The embossing powder is really lovely as it gives a glittery sheen to it, but also it creates a bit of lumpiness to it and texture, and that's why I like using it on these stems, just to create a bit of texture and give a bit of colour to the stems that can be a bit ordinary. So these are great tools, and they're all available now from Couture Creations. If your shop doesn't have them, please ask them to get it in, and all the product codes that I've used in my video today will be in the description below of my video, so you can go to your shop and say, can you get me this in, because I've seen it on a YouTube and I want to get that in so I can create some wonderful stems exactly like these. So with these stems and also this plain flower, I've used it on a book that I'm going to show you in another project in another time, another video. So I just wanted to show you a quick technique of using these lavender stems with alcohol ink, especially the glitter alcohol ink, the embossing powder, which has a great sparkle effect with them, the embossing pen, that are all available now from Couture Creations. So a quick video here of using the alcohol ink and also the embossing powder with this flower here. This is from my stash. It's not available now, but you can see I'm just adding a little bit of alcohol ink, not too much, because it will absorb and it will go and spread throughout the flower. I've just dabbed off the excess, and now I'm going to just quickly dry that, so before I use my pen on it. And then I'm going to use the embossing pen over some of the stems, and also throw a little bit of the embossing powder over it, and there you have a unique flower that is the same color as the lavender stems, and just a great way of using flowers that you have in your stash that you want to coordinate exactly to the project that you want to embellish with. So like I said before, all the products I've used in this demonstration are all listed below with codes. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. If you like this video, please give a big like. If you want to see more about all the products that I've used here, please visit couturecreations.com.au. Please visit our blog. We have some great design team ladies who are designing some wonderful projects with this collection. That's the cover of my little junk garden journal, and I'm going to show you exactly what's inside of this another time. Thanks for joining me here today, and please join me again when I show you how I created this beautiful My Garden junk journal. Bye for now.